Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Chopper.
Morning, Chopper.
Hey, how you doing? Got cold again and rainy.
Good morning, Vietnam. You now have a big tariff.
They have no tariff.
Did they make a deal?
They were the first one.
They bent a knee, right?
Yeah. But a lot of their 40% of their stuff is really made in China and tagged made in Vietnam.
Yeah, gamesmanship. So, you know what? The only stocks were that were up in the last couple of shit markets were the builders, and
Yeah.
I think that bodes well for the prospect of better real estate sales. However, I think a lot of our buying public is going to be spooked with what's going on in the market. Uh, has anybody seen any signs of that yet?
Well, if you didn't sell anything, you didn't lose anything.
Um, so I think that there's an opportunity now to educate and exploit people who want to have a different investment opportunity, right? Because real estate's never gone down 15% in 3 days. Never. I mean, it would take 6 months, and it has an inherent value by the replacement cost and the cash flow. So I think if we take this reset in the stock market as an opportunity to at least make available to people and have conversations about real estate both as an investment class and also if you're looking to move, I think we're likely to see better interest rates in the probably next 3 weeks until this turmoil gets resolved. And if it takes a lot longer, it probably will be, ironically, maybe inflationary on some things, but will be good on interest rates. And there's always a transaction or two that dies in this type of environment where somebody's waiting to sell their stocks. And I'm sure with 800, 700 agents, we'll have somebody that say, "Oh, my deal died because they were greedy waiting to sell their securities." So, Bobby G, I see you're on. Do you think this has any impact on, Main Street, Middlesex County?
I don't think so, because I think for every buyer that's skittish, there's 3 buyers that are saying, I still haven't found a house in the last 6 months, and I'm getting married, I gotta, put my kids to school, whatever. So for every one that's skittish, there's probably 3 that are just as aggressive in the market as they were before.
And I mean, right now, I don't think I'd want to be a financial advisor. How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree on that one.
I mean, I think their hands are kind of tied, right? Not really any place you can go till the market corrects. And even if I think 7 out of the last 8 recessions, real estate values have appreciated, which is a fact that not everybody, most people, aren't aware of. So even if things look bad in the stock market, real estate is still likely to continue to rise. Stay here. And Lynn, do you have any high net worth people buying that you've heard from since this tariff BS?
The only thing I've had is my high-end buyers that are coming in from Canada are holding off.
I think the opportunity for Arizona and Florida is getting listings out of people from Arizona, getting listings from the Canadians, because, although it sucks for them to buy here, when they take their US dollars over the border, they're getting a really good exchange rate going backwards. You know what I'm saying? I think I
Yeah.
don't know if it's still like $1.40, $1.30 something. So they're getting a super, even if the property value went down 10%, they're getting a 35, 40% bonus when they convert it back to Canadian money. So I don't know how we find and exploit the Canadian property owners to sell. Chopper, I think you're out of luck with this. I don't think there's many Canadians in Oakland, right?
Yeah, no, it's not a hot spot for them.
Any other ideas on how we can take a crisis and take advantage of it from some of the smartest people on the call?
Rob, hey, it's Mike. How you doing?
Good.
I actually had the opposite happen. I had a client call me and say he wants to sell his Aventura property and his Celebration property immediately so he can buy stocks. So I have both of those about a list on the market because the stock market
So
went
they
down.
want to sell now to buy it. He
Buy
wants
the
to buy
dip.
in the dip, huh?
Yeah. So actually, I feel like real estate's a necessity. We could always capitalize in any situation.
That's interesting. If you have it, you can diversify the other way while the market's down a bit. And the person's going to sell 2 properties?
Yeah, 2 properties, one in Celebration and one Aventura. So he's heavy in stocks. So once he sees this dip, he wants to lower his costs. So he wants to sell both, take his gains since the pandemic, and buy more stock. So
It's an interesting strategy, and
Now's the time to buy stock.
yeah, if you buy, I feel like if you close your eyes and buy any stock right now and hold it long term, you're gonna make money. But
Yep.
yes, diversification is key. Real estate, stocks, everything. It's not bad.
yep. And everybody on this call, but Michael, you in particular, being the go-to person for those conversations, I think is also key, right? So, he's going to liquidate those, buy stocks. I'm sure maybe there'll be another point where he comes back in, or takes his gains and selectively buys new stuff.
Correct.
Possibility.
Correct. And you could use the reverse angle. The stocks actually in the last 2 years had record gains. So even right now with this dip, there's a lot of clients are still up in their stock portfolio. It's just a little 20% correction, but overall, some, like if they had Nvidia and other stocks, they're up 500-600%. So you can use the reverse angle of them taking their gains and buying real estate. With 60,000 listings in Florida, with listings sitting, I mean, if you have a cash buyer coming in with really fully upgraded properties, 5-6 months on the market, you can use the reverse angle and get sales that way too.
Yep. Any of your team members spooked from what's going on?
No, they're not spooked. Because like I always tell them and educate them, real estate's a necessity. You need a roof over your head at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter the type of market. So now we're having people who missed out on the pandemic and people that's been on the sidelines. Now they're coming back to the market. So a lot of our sales is buyers, especially with interest rates dropping the last couple of days. So we're targeting a lot of buyers right now. It's shifted more to buyers, but nobody's spooked. I mean, everybody's energized because I'm constantly educating them, updating them. We have a lot of hands-on team meetings. So when I'm meeting with Frank today, actually at 10 to give them a mortgage update. So a lot of education to the team to make them feel comfortable.
What's your source of your buyer leads?
Inner circle. I mean, we focus, I would say, like 100% of meeting with inner circle clients. So um, my teammates that have part-time jobs, I mean, we marketed their jobs. People that they know and see every single day is the key, because they trust them, they know them. And a lot of our source is referral business, a tremendous amount of referral business. So inner circle referral, we do home seminars, which was key. We closed a lot of people from that. We have like a lot of events in the office where we give coffee, bagels, and we want people to meet us, everybody in the plaza. So we focus people that we see every single day, business owners, family, friends, and
Yeah, sure.
that's what we focus on.
And how many of your team members are aspiring full-time agents and currently part-time?
So right now I have 3 full-time, 4 part-time. So the one that just turned full-time, Jenny Chase, since she went full-time from January, she has 8 sales in 4 months. She went from 8 sales to only 2 of the whole last year. 4 times more production because of full-time. When a client calls you, you have to be available now, not 3 days, 4 days from now when you're available from your other job. So she actually believed and she went full-time. She closed her eyes and now she's the best decision she ever made. And then the other 4, it takes a little time. I'm trying to show them the vision. The money they can make in real estate is way past what they can make at the other jobs. But I want them to feel comfortable. I never force any teammate if they're not right financially to make that decision. So I sit with them and I ask them, what would be a goal for you to have in your savings for you to go full time? And that's what we target. So each of the 4 part-time members, I know exactly what they want to have saved, and I'm going to help them achieve to get that goal, so I can have all 7 full time.
So I met with a broker owner that's retiring in a different state than where we do business, and his North Star was, for the 19 years that he was the broker owner of that office, his brokerage was the highest producing per agent in his entire state. And I think he has 89, 90 agents, and the average 26 units closed last year. And that was off from, like, I don't know, 29 or 30 the year before, and close to 40 during the peak. And it was interesting. Everything he talked about was talking about productivity per agent. And, I was thinking, for Mike, you with your team, having a plan where, people don't feel so comfortable being in the middle of the line forever. And there's if they say they want to go full time, there's some sort of a timeline for that. Maybe it's 12 months, 18 months, but not 5 years, my opinion.
No, I think it's great. I agree. Full time, we're gonna have, of course, way more productivity. So that's what my goal is, to have everybody full time, and future agents that are coming on board that I'm gonna bring onto the team, mandatory that they're full time, because I truly don't care if they have too much experience. I just want people that just show up. 80% of success is showing up. So just full time, and I could take over the rest. I could train them, I could motivate them, I could educate them. I just need them to put the time in. But yes, I want to have them on a plan so I could have everybody full time by the end of this year.
Yeah, I think I don't know, a goal is a dream with a deadline, right? I don't know if you guys heard me. You hear that, Goop? A goal is a dream with a deadline. Can't hear you.
You're muted, Michael.
I love it. A goal is a dream with a deadline.
Yeah, because otherwise you could kind of linger forever, and if, Jenny's continues her pace, then just keep highlighting that she took a chance, right, and jumped all in, and it's working out, right?
Yeah, she did. She believed. That's the key there. She believed in the system. She believed that um in real estate, you can't go full time unless you actually love to help people. Like you have to have a passion to helping people, and the money will come. Any agent that just wants to say, "Oh, I can't wait 6 months to a year. I want to make money now," is not going to succeed. So Jenny actually really firmly believes in her heart that she wants to help people. And then from there, the dominoes will fall into place. She's helping people and she's making sales. She's putting the time in. So I'm using her to show the other agents though. So I'm highlighting her in meetings, and the other agents are like, wow, she's went full time and she's having so many sales. So now they're all making plans to go full time too.
And Bobby Golden, you run a hybrid because you're also supervising the entire office. And you still have a few part-timers, correct?
Correct, but Bob Durso and I have talked about, let's just say the agents that aren't producing, and we're not giving them a choice to either go into referral status or we got to ask them to move on. But we do have one agent that got a full-time job because he had to for insurance reasons. He's got 5 kids. But even at a part-time basis, Carlo is still showing homes, selling homes, and he's holding it all together. He really is.
Right. You got to respect people like that. But I think, if you look at it from, to be relevant in the market, learn all the systems, at least to be efficient, right? That takes a certain amount of time. Having the expertise built takes a certain amount of time. And then if you're working part-time, man, it's a huge mountain to climb, right? Because whatever time you're investing, you're probably cutting corners on, staying on top of the market, staying on top of the technology, staying on top of market trends. So if you spend your time doing that, then you have no time to sell. You know what I mean? It's like a very difficult industry to be effective part-time, in my opinion.
We're
And
also
I don't think people understand it.
we're also encouraging the agents, Rob, that if they don't have time, that they have to partner up with somebody, whether it's me, Bobby Durso, or whoever. If you don't have time to show a particular house, you got to call somebody, and then you work it out from there. Meaning the agents work it out, whether you split the commission or referral or whatever. But you got to provide the service to the customer, otherwise you never get that back.
And you have to have the skills to be able to, complete transactions. And, New Jersey is probably the skills that you need are a little bit different than Florida. I think Florida, you need better skills on the listing side. New Jersey, it's still very competitive on the buy side. So, those who are part-time, their skills in most cases aren't where they need to be either. And maybe partnering them up with people and having, them work and see how you do a deal or Durso does a deal would be really helpful.
And Rob, I'm going to beat a dead horse. Yesterday was a perfect example. So I got a Zillow call, out of the blue. Guy desperately wanted to see a house, but I was on grandfather duty yesterday. And so I reached out to one of our part-time agents, guy that's really not doing too much business. And I said, Phil, do me a favor, show this house. If he likes it, we'll work it out. I'll show you how to process the sale, which he's very excited about. And the customer reached out to me late yesterday afternoon that he wants to make an offer. So it's only because I reached out to somebody else to show a house, and that's all he did. And then together we'll work on the deal and get it closed.
So let me ask you this question, because you've been successful for many years. Somebody says, I want to make an offer. Like, how does Bobby Golden handle that?
Well, these days you make sure that the buyer agency agreement has been discussed and negotiated and all squared away. That's step number one. Make sure the buyer's qualified. In this case, my wife Jill is the loan officer, so it looks like that's going to work itself out. But I find out from them, I say, what are you thinking? What's your approach here? What do you want to do? And if it's a realistic approach, then, we have a discussion. If he's not realistic, then I show him comps, advise him that he's got to do better. And these days, at a bare minimum, you got to be at full price, probably a little bit more. So it's a conversation. I give him my advice. He tells me what he wants to accomplish. And then from there, you write up the offer and you get it presented.
So here's a tip, because I think you have the instincts, and probably only because of all the years you've been doing this, but maybe for the newer agents and the team members that you're mentoring, I'm assuming that that was a new listing that they wanted to see, correct?
It was back on the market. He missed out. It came on the market with multiple offers, bidding war, and the customer missed out because it was already in attorney review under contract. But now the house is right back on the market as of yesterday. So it's for what I'm going to find out why it came back on the market, but that's the scenario there.
So if you were to have your team members go on and look at all the properties that sold in the past 90 days, within like a 10-15% up and down range, and you say, hey, all the properties that sold in Avenel in the past 90 days between 4.25 and 590 are selling for 108.2% of original ask price. And then you say, hey, if you like this property, where do you think you need to be? Because in my opinion, especially for newer agents that don't have the context, they say, oh, I missed this one. I missed out on this. I feel horrible. I want to get it. It's a $500,000 property. You got to be bidding, 40,000 over that to have an average chance of getting it. Right. And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'll pay $529. I'm not going to go a penny more than that. And there's no basis for that with these, buyers that are emotional. What's your thoughts on that, Mr. G? Still there, Bobby?
Yeah, I had to get off mute. My phone's not helping me. What you said is accurate. The one thing that I say that works for me anyway is I look at a customer. So you're the buyer. I would say, Rob, let me ask you this question. Would you be upset if somebody else got the house? And generally speaking, the answer is yes, absolutely, definitely.
Right.
Let's try to step it up here and let's buy the house. Let's not negotiate. Let's buy it, and we'll prevent anybody else from outbidding you. And somewhere along the line, you come to a common point where you present your offer.
Maybe, from a training perspective, Bobby, you go, hey, would it be helpful if you knew the strategy that other successful buyers used recently?
That's a great.
And you ask that question, they say, oh, yeah, absolutely. Say, hey, most agents don't do this, but I took the time to do some research, and in Avenel in the past 90 days or, whatever period you're going to do. So you have, more than one or two pieces of data. You say, hey, homes that have got under contract in the first 5 days are selling for 8.4% above original ask price. So that's an average. So if you like this property, what strategy do you think we need to use to come in to be competitive? And I find people are like, well, let's go in at 10 or maybe 11% over so that we have a good shot at it.
Right. Excellent suggestion.
All right. And you just need to learn how to use the MLS and just search the days on market and then sell the list price. Oh, and one other pro tip, Bobby, is take out the ones that have 0 and 1 day on the market and sell for full ask price, because those were probably negotiated beforehand. They're just putting them on the MLS for comp or like award status. And I'll be transparent about that. Look, this one went on at $599, sold for $599, 0 days on market. That sale was already negotiated before it hit the market, so I took that one out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hope that's a good tip that everybody can can take and share to their rank and file, and it's necessary now. And the reverse psychology for Florida and parts of Arizona, would hold true as well when you're on listings. Just in terms of teaching your team members to ask instead of tell. Any final thoughts or questions before we wrap today?
Rob, while I got you, please call Jill today as a reminder.
Will do. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna have a 3-minute gift of time today. Get a little head start. I'm still in the car heading to my destination, and just be the rock that your team members need, and you got to be a rock for yourself so that you can lead. All right, everybody have a great productive week. If you need me for anything, let me know, and go Gus a little bit.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rob.
Rob.
Good week,
Bye,
everybody.
Rob.
Rob.
Bye bye.
Thank you.